Well, let's get more on this now with Tom O'Connor in New York. He's a senior foreign policy writer at Newsweek. Good to have you back on the program, Tom. This really is a breakthrough because the issue of Sweden and Finland's membership bids threatened to overshadow the NATO summit in Madrid. Should Turkey feel vindicated that its security concerns seem to have been taken seriously?
Sure. Well, I think it's obviously something that Turkey wanted to emphasize, and this is something that, of course, has to do specifically with Turkey's interest when it comes to what it brings to the table in the alliance and its own national security concerns. So certainly, if there is actual substance to the proclamations put forth by Sweden and Finland, then certainly I think that Turkey can walk away saying that it gained something from this. Now, I think it does go to show that Turkey wasn't serious about really wanting to block Finland and Sweden's accession to NATO, being an outlier in this situation. I think that this is something somewhat symbolic, but somewhat substantive. But of course, we'll never know the full extent of those discussions and the agreements that were reached. It'll be interesting to see how these countries' policies transform moving forward.
That's right, and we know that each parliament, each member state has to now ratify in their own parliaments Sweden and Finland's bids. But we know that one of the reasons why Vladimir Putin waged this war on Ukraine was because of its potential membership of NATO. Now the military alliance is expanding, albeit in another direction. How is Russia likely to feel about these latest developments, given that Finland, for example, shares a border with Russia?
Well, certainly it can't be something that Russia would like to see happen. I think at the same time, it's important to remember that Finland and Sweden are not members of the former Soviet bloc. They don't, as Russia has said, and Russian officials have said, they don't have any territorial disputes with Russia at the moment. So although I think it's something that Russia was warning against in the beginning, in the past few months, we've seen sort of a transformation in the Russian language toward this, saying that let them do it. It doesn't matter to us. I think that what will be interesting is the military developments here. Will this translate into more NATO exercises in the region? Will Finland and Sweden try to attain new weapons? That's something that Russia will respond to, and perhaps we might even in the absence of that, we might see some more Russian deployments in this direction. But right now, it doesn't look like there's really much Russia can do about this, and it doesn't want to look like it's been caught off guard.
And what about one of the proposals that's set to be discussed? This is the expansion of NATO's rapid deployment unit to around 300,000 troops. Currently, it sits at about 30,000. Is this a significant development, and do you think it'll be enough to counter any future threats from Russia?
Well, certainly, I think it's something that is a significant development. I mean, it's a massive number of troops. We're getting to levels not seen since the Cold War when it comes to opposing lines in Europe, and it's something that I think also raises a significant risk for escalation on the situation on the ground. Because, of course, when tensions are this high, there's a heightened risk of miscalculation. I think that's something that both sides are really looking to avoid here. So, the question is that as this Ukraine crisis drags on with no clear end in sight, is this really a long-term a flashpoint that we're seeing emerging here in Europe, and is this something that could affect us for years, perhaps even generations to come? So I think that there needs to also be a focus on diplomacy here, because the more elements that are added to this, it becomes a very volatile situation. I think that, as President Biden has said, he does not want to enter into a conflict with Russia, of course, but the more troops on the ground, whether they be from the U.S. or other NATO states, really heightens this risk that we're seeing.
Okay, Tom O'Connor, always good to get your analysis. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.